So, Jessica, thank you very much for joining us on Flyer. Now, you're famous for being the world's first armless pilot, and you've completed loads more amazing accomplishments since then. Can you just tell us how you got into flying in the first place?
I actually started flying on a random whim because a fighter pilot came up to me when I was speaking to a Rotary group, and it's a service group. They service the community, and I was speaking as a volunteer speaker, and a gentleman came up to me and said, "How would you like to fly?" And I'd never been in a small airplane my entire life. I'd been on many commercial flights, but never a small plane. And no one in my family had been pilots or any experience in aviation. So I thought, initially I was a little afraid of it. I was terrified of the thought of flying. But my dad was with me at the time, and he answered the question for me. She would love to. But it turns out my first flight was actually just before this opportunity to pursue this gentleman's offer. I actually went up for my first international keynote speech shortly after that, and it required flying in a Cessna airplane. It was my first time in a single engine, and it turned out at that moment I made this commitment that I wanted to do everything possible to become the world's first armless pilot.
Fantastic. So, what? How did you go about doing that? Because did you need to find an instructor who had dealt with people with mobility issues before, and the aircraft itself?
Certainly, there were a lot of different questions on how to tackle this commitment and announcement that I wanted to become a pilot. We wanted to keep it as quiet as possible because we didn't know how everyone was going to receive it. I had to find an instructor, find the right airplane, go through a lot of hoops to figure out how I would be able to do this the proper way. And so we first tackled the question of what certification I would try and get, and that was the light sport certification. And it was something fairly new in the United States. It came out in 2001. And this was perfect because I already had a valid driver's license. And therefore, with that valid driver's license, it served as my medical. And having that taken care of, I could continue pursuing the training. We just had to find an instructor. We had to find the right airplane. And the list goes on with the challenges. But those were some of the first starting questions of what certification, what instructor, and what airplane.
Fantastic. And what aircraft did you end up learning on then?
Well, the airplane that became the perfect fit for me and still is the perfect fit, as it reads in my certification now, is an Ercoupe. And an Ercoupe was built in 1940, in the 1940s. So it was a post-World War II airplane. But so the airplane that I fly right now is a 1946 415C Ercoupe airplane. And it works beautifully because it is the only airplane without rudder pedals and is very suitable for someone with two less limbs.
What was it about flying that you wanted to achieve?
I really wanted to conquer my fear. And I knew that flying would be the way because I was always terrified of commercial flights. And as a speaker now of 15 years, I've spoken in 27 countries. And it was a good decision to pursue that because I stand up on stage and tell people you should never let fear stand in the way of any opportunity. And you should have the courage to pursue things that make you a little scared. And so I thought I needed to conquer my own fear personally and attempt to do something no one has ever done before. And it's very much like me to do something that's a little adventurous or a little scary. And so it was a very good fit for me at the time in my life. Just after my college graduation, I needed my next challenge.
Yeah. And throughout the process of getting your license, what was the most mentally demanding part of it? Because everybody struggles with something. If it's map reading or the radio, what was your difficulty?
Well, it's so funny because some of those emotional challenges of being up high, losing contact with the ground, really started. It was a challenge for me, and I was, I obviously had to really gear up for that. And some of the physical challenges of how would I flip through my maps when I'm going through my solo cross country flight. And another challenge was landing the airplane safely because there's so much involved with landing a plane. There's so much going on that for me, it's a lot more physically demanding, obviously. to have my feet on the controls. So these were just some of them, the challenges when it came to the training.
Mm. And flying now in the sort of 2020s, has technology helped you in terms of, I'm assuming you probably use ForeFlight and or iPads or iPhones to navigate. Has that helped you as well?
Well, technology in general has been a significant help for me when it comes to voice activation and things of that sort. For example, I text message with the edge of my toes, but now I use voice to text, and it speeds up my texting, it speeds up my typing. But I haven't necessarily been able to implement the technology as making my life a little easier, because we're dealing with a 1946 airplane with technology of the 1940s. So that's why we're excited with the future prospect of a plane that we're going to talk about here shortly. I don't want to preempt it, but we're excited about implementation of technology for making it much easier, whether it's voice recognition, whether it's obviously the glass cockpit has a lot of appeal in a sense. So I have not been able to implement it to answer your question, but excited about the possibilities in the future.
Yeah. And did anything surprise you about learning to fly?
What did surprise me about learning to fly was the community. The community, which I'm sure you're very well aware of, is this family of aviators, and how much they are cheerleaders to you getting your goal, and to you earning your wings. And they will almost bend over backwards with this generous support that I did not expect. I was expecting resistance. I was expecting challenges in the community, but turns out it was the complete opposite. And it continues to be this family of supporters that is absolutely incredible. And that is what shocked me about joining the community of pilots, and has really been very refreshing. So for anyone who is interested in flying, I highly encourage you to find a way to do it, because there's something so empowering about it. Don't give up. It's going to be a challenge. It's a challenge for anyone, but it's well worth it in the end when you experience the freedom and empowerment of flight. So I encourage anyone who has this as a possibility in their life to pursue it, and you'll be surprised that there's a significant amount of support in the aviation community. We are a family, like you said, Johnny, no matter where you are in the world. I know you're in Europe and I'm here in the United States, but it doesn't matter. We have this connection of aviation. So there are people that will be cheering you on, and will welcome you to the family of aviators.
Well, Jessica, thank you very much for your time. It's been great talking to you, and good luck with the build with the RV10.
Yes, thank you very much, and looking forward to this community and updating you all as we progress through a challenge that has never been done before, making a plane equipped to be flown with feet. But we ask for support because we need your support from the aviation community. Obviously, it's going to cost a significant amount of money. So we do ask for support in that capacity. We ask for design ideas of how we can custom design the controls. Please follow us on jessicacox.com/project2025.
Fantastic. We'll make sure everybody goes and follows you. So thank you very much, Jessica.
Thank you, Johnny. Thanks. Take care and safe flying.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that, please give us a like, leave a comment and subscribe.